Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing checking back in with y'all, man. What's happening? Back at it once again. I told y'all we was gonna work this week. But look, so I wanted to touch on this topic right here, man. This is a pretty hot topic right now. Considering the brother Errol Spence, he posted a tweet a couple of days ago, basically saying that, maybe this whole time, Manny Pacquiao's plans when he showed up to that fight, Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia, very successful pay-per-view, a beautiful performance by Errol Spence, 12 rounds of domination. Mikey didn't win 1 second, 1 minute of one round. It was just a beautiful display of boxing, and Earl really showed, different wrinkles, and him not even being, 100%. Like, look at the weigh-in, like Earl was considerably drained and visibly drained, in that training camp. As he stated, he talked about that as well on Twitter, about him not, training, just waiting for him to get a fight date to start training and shit. But that's neither here nor there. Great performance by Errol Spence. Manny Pacquiao was in attendance. And Earl leading up to that fight, Earl had been calling for Manny Pacquiao, as, a lot of the young guys like Keith Thurman, like Terrence Crawford, Sean Porter, a lot of the young guys have been calling for Manny Pacquiao, the same way they was doing Floyd, man. Manny Pacquiao is a legend, and, Manny Pacquiao is a great fighter, hell of a fighter, one of the greatest fighters of all time, one of the most exciting fighters to watch. I love Manny Pacquiao, Earl was calling him out and, saying, look, man, people look at me as the man in the division right now. Even though Keith Thurman had 2 belts at the time, he had vacated one of them because he had been off so long. So he was down to just the WBA belt. And, Keith Thurman had been off for so long and been riddled with injuries and shit. And Errol Spence, while Keith Thurman out, actively ducking Errol Spence, but he did have some injuries and shit like that going on. So, I'm gonna put that in there for sure. Errol Spence was taking over. Errol Spence had went over to England and got the best win in the division out of all to me, Errol Spence got the best win out of all these young guys. He went over there and beat who I thought at the time was the best welterweight in the world, Kell Brook. And I thought that fight was a matchup between the 2 best fighters at welterweight. You know what I'm saying? So Earl, he went over there, got his career win, marquee win versus Kell Brook in great fashion. He went on to fight Lamont Peterson, put on a beautiful performance. He had a hometown fight here in Dallas, Texas, at the Dallas Star, and he went in there and got a first round knockout versus Carlos Ocampo. And, he sold that place out. I was in attendance at that fight. And, Earl had just been building a name for himself, and he worked his way up, obviously, to be able to do a pay-per-view fight with fellow pound for pound fighter Mikey Garcia. And, Earl had been calling out Manny. He's like, look, man, I want Manny Pacquiao. I'm ready. I think that's a great fight. I want to put that legend on my resume. That'll be, a great fighter that I can have a great name on my resume. And Manny Pacquiao tried to play him short, like, you're a youngster to me. Like, he compared Errol Spence to some fighter he fought back in the day, like let Dabwa or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Some dumb shit. Like, the comparison was horrible. This motherfucker ain't nowhere near as good as Errol Spence Jr. Like, it was a horrible comparison, but it was obviously to downplay Errol Spence, But I mean, that's big boss nigga shit. Like, that's what a boss motherfucker do. So I wasn't mad at Manny Pacquiao for downplaying Errol Spence. He's speaking from a pedestal, you know what I'm saying? So he talking like a boss. Shit, that's how you supposed to do it. I wasn't mad at him for that. But the way he was talking, though, it was like, I've seen him before. I've seen that type of fighter before. That type of style, that his abilities would be nothing for me to conquer. So I'm like, okay, cool. Manny talking like this. Okay, maybe he gonna get a young lion some smoke. You know what I'm saying? So Manny Pacquiao pull up to the fight. You know what I'm saying? Now, I called this shit. Because I told y'all that Manny Pacquiao versus Mikey Garcia, I made multiple videos on this. Y'all can go fact check. I told y'all that Manny Pacquiao versus Mikey Garcia is a hell of a matchup. I think Mikey Garcia can beat Manny Pacquiao just stylistically. With Manny Pacquiao at this age that he at right now, with Mikey Garcia being such a fantastic counterpuncher, having a similar style to Marquez, but being younger and fresher and, you know, just Mikey Garcia, like, is in his prime right now. You know what I'm saying? He older than Errol Spence, but he in his prime right now. You know what I'm saying? He haven't taken a whole lot of punishment in his career. You know, so outside of that Errol Spence fight. You know, so I've been saying that was a fight that I wouldn't mind seeing. You know, so I called it. I said that I think, you know, when Manny Pacquiao came to the fight and he saw what Errol Spence doing, going into the fight, he was probably thinking, oh, Mikey Garcia is going to outbox this dude. You know, because he really wasn't showing very much respect for Errol Spence's skills. He was talking about like Earl just some run-of-the-mill type of guy. So he was going in there thinking that Mikey Garcia was going to outbox Earl and, you know, make Earl look bad and get this huge win. And now he's a pay-per-view star. And now he can jump in the ring and get on the mic, like Earl said, and call out Mikey Garcia and say, look, I want to fight next. That all makes sense for Manny Pacquiao, because, you know, Mikey Garcia would have dethroned Errol Spence, taking him out. So Manny ain't even got to worry about him. Now you got a new pay-per-view star in Mikey Garcia and a guy that's your size that in your mind you think you can beat. I think Mike Garcia can beat Manny. It's a 50-50 fight to me. You know what I'm saying? But in Manny Pacquiao eyes, he like, I can beat this guy. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but it didn't go that way. Errol Spence went in there and showed Manny Pacquiao some different shit. You know, so that's why you seen Manny Pacquiao look so damn confused when he got in the ring. He was like scratching his head and shit like, you know what I'm saying? Where did my popcorn go? Like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, bring me my pop. I was just trying to enjoy the fight. Like, I don't want no smoke with you, man. I'm just trying to enjoy the fight. Why did you call me in the ring? I don't want no parts of this. He was looking confused as hell. Looking for his soda pop and his popcorn and his candy bars and shit. You know what I'm saying? He trying his best to get out the ring. Errol Spence had to grab him. He like, no, come here. Come here now, Manny. Bring your ass here. Come here. You know what I'm saying? Earl, y'all seen that shit. Earl had to grab him by the arm. Now come here. Come here. Manny was trying to sneak out the ring and shit. Don't act like I'm lying, bro. Come on, y'all seen that shit. You know what I'm saying? He was not planning on Errol Spence winning that fight. You know, so Errol Spence, you know, and that was the first sign for me, like, damn, you know, maybe Manny Pac. And after that, I'm like, bro, he not going to fight Earl. He not going to fight Earl. So that was one sign. Another sign was when he picked Keith Thurman. And I knew he was going to pick Keith Thurman. And listen, you can't say I'm a Manny Pacquiao hater, because I told y'all that it was 4 champions at the time. You had Terrence Crawford, you had Sean Porter, you had Errol Spence, and you had Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman coming off layoff and injuries. Plus, stylistically, that was a great matchup for Manny Pacquiao, because he's way faster than Keith. I knew Keith was going to go in there big-headed trying to bang with him instead of boxing. Even if Keith Thurman boxed the whole fight, I thought he would have had a better chance doing that. But even if he would have boxed the whole fight, I think he still would have got down early on the cards, because Manny was just going to overwhelm him, which he did. You know what I'm saying? So you can't call me a Manny Pacquiao hater, because I picked Manny Pacquiao in that fight. Go back and fact check. I picked Manny Pacquiao. A lot of people thought I was crazy. Of course, the hardcore, crazy ass Manny Pacquiao fans, y'all was riding with me. Y'all was like, shit, hell yeah, man. You know, Manny Pacquiao, he gonna get him. He gonna knock him out. I said, there ain't gonna be no knockout. It's gonna be split decision victory, Manny Pacquiao. What the fuck happened? Split decision victory, Manny Pacquiao. I told y'all that shit was gonna happen. So you can't call me a Manny Pacquiao hater when I'm calling this shit straight down the middle. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, he gonna pick Keith and he gonna beat Keith Thurman. He not gonna pick Terrence Crawford. That's a bad matchup for him. I think Terrence Crawford will stop him. He's not going to pick Sean Porter. That's a bad matchup for him. I think Sean Porter is capable of overwhelming him. Just too big, too strong, too physical. this Manny Pacquiao today can't deal with no like Sean Porter right now in his prime, in his heyday. He not gonna be able to deal with that type of pressure that Sean Porter gonna be on him. It's either gonna be a decision for Sean Porter in an ugly fight, or Sean Porter fuck around and get him up out of there. You think I'm crazy, but that shit could happen. And he not gonna fight Errol Spence Jr. We already seen that he was deviating away from Errol Spence and kind of avoiding Errol Spence. So I knew he wasn't going to fight neither one of them three. I'm like, the only motherfucker that makes sense in Pacquiao eyes is Keith Thurman. That's why he picked him. Now, it just so happened to be Keith Thurman, who at that time had, you know, two great wins versus Sean Porter, Danny Garcia. He had two great wins. He was the unified champion, you know, before he vacated one of those titles. So for Manny Pacquiao fans, that was a good argument. And also for Manny Pacquiao, it was a good argument for them to say, okay, well, Keith had the better resume. You know what I'm saying? It was convenient for them to make that argument. Even they totally taken out of context the fact that, and leaving out the fact that Keith Thurman had been riddled with injuries and had been out of the ring for like two and a half years, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and we know, you know, depending on, you know, Luis Collazo hurt him to the body. We seen the fight before he fought Manny Pacquiao, Josecito Lopez, he hurt him. He almost got him up out of there. So all these little details, which are very fucking meaningful, these are the type of things that these Manny Pacquiao fans kept out of the equation to try to justify Manny Pacquiao picking Keith Thurman over the other three guys that would have gave him a way better fight. You know what I'm saying? So that's the number two reason that showed me that he was avoiding Errol Spence. And here is the biggest one. This is the biggest one. The fact that Errol Spence was in a damn near fatal car accident, you know what I'm saying, where everybody thought, I remember when my Pops called me, you know what I'm saying, Pops called me like, you know what I'm saying, you watched the news, you seen what happened? I'm like, what you mean? What you talking about? You know what I'm saying? He like, man, he sent me the information. I'm like, damn, that shit fucked me up. I thought shit was gonna be all bad. It was a lot of people thought shit was crazy. Shit was finna be all bad for Errol Spence. For him to go through some shit like that, now he back. Errol Spence came out and continued on his plan. He said, look, now Errol had Danny Garcia scheduled for January before the accident. So that was because he already knew Manny Pacquiao was trying to stay away from him. You know what I'm saying? But Errol Spence came back. All the plans that he had was thrown out the window. So now he like back to square one. I want to fight Manny Pacquiao. That's who I want first. He had a list: Manny Pacquiao, Terrence Crawford, Danny Garcia. He didn't really have no order, but we all know that Errol Spence's priority was who? Manny Pacquiao. If Errol Spence could get any fight right now, it is Manny Pacquiao. He wants that name. He wants the notoriety that comes behind that. He wants the legend that comes behind that. And he wants the payday. Who the fuck wouldn't? You know what I'm saying? So the fact that Manny Pacquiao didn't jump on this, and I'm jumping the gun on one thing because it's another reason that showed me he was avoiding Earl. But the fact that he didn't jump on this opportunity to fight Earl, even coming off this accident, that let me know, like, he really don't want no smoke with Errol Spence. Errol Spence got a damn near get one of his legs cut off or something. He got a damn near walking that bitch peg leg like Jose Benavidez for Manny Pacquiao to want some smoke. You know what I'm saying? He got a damn near have one of his arms cut off or some shit. Like walking that bitch looking crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like for him to want to fight Errol Spence. But another thing is, y'all remember when Manny Pacquiao put a poll up on Twitter? He put a poll up on Twitter and he said, you know, who y'all want me to fight next? I believe this was after the Keith Thurman fight. He put a poll up, who y'all want me to fight next? It had Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, it had Sean Porter on there. I knew he wasn't picking Sean Porter. And then it had somebody else on there, you know what I'm saying? No Errol Spence. No Errol Spence. I'm like, bruh, why you didn't put Errol Spence on there? You know he want to fight you. Bruh, I say all that to say this. Bruh, I love Manny Pacquiao. He's a great fighter. If he doesn't want to fight Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence, bro, just drop the belt. You can fight the cashier at Kroger's. You can fight the mechanic at AutoZone or motherfucking Firestone. Shit, you can fight the goddamn, you know, the janitor at the local middle school or elementary school down the street. I don't give a fuck who you fight, because you Manny Pacquiao, you done already put in all the work. But drop the belt. I don't give a fuck about him picking and choosing who he want to fight. I don't care. Bro, we want to see undisputed. Just drop the fucking belt. That's all I'm asking. And you hardcore, you know, fake ass boxing fans, but uberly Manny Pacquiao fans that want to justify all this ducking and shit, you know, and want to justify all this avoiding and shit. I'm not saying Manny Pacquiao is afraid. The man that's been in there with everybody. I ain't saying he afraid, but damn. Stop trying to make up excuses. Stop trying to protect this man like he your little cub or something. Manny Pacquiao is a grown-ass man. You don't need to be trying to hold him dear to your heart and protect him and shit. He a grown-ass man. So just drop the belt and let these young killers fight for it so we can get undisputed. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Contender regime, boxing, I'll holler at y'all boys, man.